go so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
How we doing? FT Live, Braun, Kratz, and Mr. Big Shot Pierzynski joining us later.
The high flyer.
Yeah, racking up his miles. You also might have heard him on Fox calling the Twins-Astros game, which we'll get to in just a sec. But it's been a fun weekend. Obviously, there's a ton to catch up on with all of the series that are going down. But I would like to start with an announcement. I'm going to be here all day and night. And that is because we have a Braves-Phillies watch party going down right here on Foul Territory. It'll be on the Foul Territory YouTube channel at 6 o'clock Eastern time. We'll just watch the game, give you some fun commentary and insight on what so far, I mean, it's only been one game, has been an interesting series. It's kind of crazy that we just went from the Phillies beating the Marlins, on Wednesday? Wednesday was the end of that series.
Did they have Thursday and Friday off?
Thursday, Friday off.
Yeah. So
Saturday they played, Sunday off. So now we're on to Monday, and it's only the second game that forget the Braves, because obviously they've only played one game in a long time. Even for the Phillies, it's a lot of games.
They're trying to.
It's a lot of days.
They're trying to screw these teams over. They're trying to slow them down, get their rhythm all out of whack, all that stuff. Ugh, just no chance.
What is the answer here?
What is the answer? Nothing.
How about, I have one suggestion.
Score more runs than zero.
That's true. That helps. I have one other suggestion. What about if you're going to do a 3-gamer, which many people are now like, we don't even need to do a 3-game wild card anymore because all of them ended in sweeps, and it's 7 of 8 the last 2 years. Okay.
One time. Second time ever.
Going to need a little bit more of a sample size. But the one thing I would like to see, Thursday, you got to go right to the next series because you know where you're going. So you got to go right there, and you got to play on Friday, which is a good day to have some ball anyway. You're starting during college football and NFL, which are always trying to kind of tiptoe around anyway. You can dominate Friday, get some series going. If you're that wild card team, you got to fly out there and deal with it.
How many more penalties do we need to have? Like, do we need to just like I read Ken's article about maybe we should go to what the KBO does over in Korea.
What do they do?
You go into the series, you're already down 1-0 in the series.
No, that's too much.
Oh, why? Why? Like, why are we always catering to the people who win you won the regular season, and the Braves won the regular season by a lot. The Dodgers won the regular season by a lot. The Orioles, they were the best team in the American League. Why do we need to cater more to them? The advantage is to win the regular season. That is what we want. Unless you figure out a way to keep teams from not making the playoffs, I think we've done a great job of giving you what you are sitting at home. They're not sitting at home going, I wonder if I'm going to be able to get a hit again. No, they're sitting at home like, oh my gosh, I'm so fresh. Max Fried even said it. Once we get into all that stuff, he's like, I haven't been, we'll see what happens in my start, blah, blah, blah. But he goes, I haven't thrown a lot this year. My arm's pretty fresh. Like, to me, that is the part that's missing. I want everybody to come out and say, before the game, are we ready to go or are we not ready to go? And if they say we're ready to go, okay. Then you can't say anything about layoffs or time off. But if they say before the game we're not ready to go, thank you for your honesty. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
My thing also,
you better figure it out.
but from a fan perspective, I just feel like there haven't been enough games. There's a lot of days off. And I get it. Thursday we could have had games, but I'm like, give me games Friday. You could travel through it. And what's the concern? Thursday you get rain? Thursday you mess everything up?
Yeah, you get a rain. Thursday late game. Then they're getting in late Friday.
That's a disadvantage.
Yeah, there's already a disadvantage. You've already burned your 2 guys. Now I get it. National League this year, it works out. Mm-hmm. It didn't work out for the American League side. They're playing their games yesterday. 2 games is great. I think 2 games a day is perfect. 4,
Yeah,
It's a lot because I'm watching them. I'm locked in. It's a lot.
Yeah, and you want to watch it all.
I want to watch it all.
I also just think the way to solve the rain issue is if you don't have a roof, right? If you don't have a retractable ballpark and you're a billionaire and you own a club, that's on you. So if there's a rain situation, you forfeit. I'm kidding, but kind of. Anyway, let's charge the damn mound. Let's get to the American League side, and then we'll talk to Russ Dorsey about the National League side of things. So let's start with the Astros and Twins. We've got a series, baby. This is the only series at 1-1. Obviously, we're going to get the second games in the National League coming up on here on Monday evening. But the Twins bite back with your boy Pablo Lopez and Carlos Correa. Because guess what, people? Spending money helps. And when you spend $200 million on a shortstop who's been there before, who's making nasty defensive plays and coming up clutch, who's also a guy who's very much been here before, not just been in this postseason, but he has done a lot of damage in that ballpark, it certainly helps. And Rocco Baldelli talked about how this is not like an accident. This is not luck. This dude is built for moments like this. We've seen this over and over from them. Lopez obviously shoved for them. So props to the Twins who now get to go home and have the advantage here where they can take 2 games and beat the Houston Astros and be in the ALCS.
And they've earned every second of it. And for every kid out there right now who complains about people being tryhards, Carlos Correa is a tryhard. And this is where it's getting him. Taking his team home 1-1 against the defending world champions. Don't forget, the Astros are a baller team. And he has come out and absolutely put this team on his shoulders after a very subpar season for his standards.
Yeah.
And it's 2 plays in the field that really stick out. Obviously, 3 hits. We're seeing 3 hits, a walk right now, 3 RBIs. Huge. That's what everybody's going to remember. What about the pickoff call that he called to get them out of the wild card round? Again, picking off Vladimir Guerrero. What about the no scope throw by Jeffers? Unbelievable throw. Ball in the dirt. He runs, picks it up. No scope. I mean, he wasn't looking. He just turns, buzzes it, and Correa is there like this. He's like, hands up. Boom, catch. Got him. Jose Abreu didn't slide. That's a try hard, and that try hard is this close to winning the American League Division Series.
Yep.
And it matters. So you need to be a try-hard if you want to do cool things.
And hey, in game 1, they actually made it pretty close because originally things were not going their way. JV didn't have his breaker early, and then he found it. Because they had times to strike in the beginning of that game. A couple different times to strike. And then JV got in his groove. And then Jordan was Jordan, who's been Jordan in the whole series. Already got 3 home runs in the series. He's ridiculous. And they made a little late push. And actually, could have been a huge story if the Twins came back, but Verlander could have given him another inning. He said, "You sure?" When the starting pitcher's going up to, who is it, the pitching coach at that point?
The pitching coach, yeah.
And they're like, "Yo, you're good, dude. Good run, 40 whatever year old you are." And they go, "You're good." And he goes, "You sure?" I would say, "No, actually, I'm not sure. I'd like you to go back
with Dusty.
Back on the mound now."
I'll check this out. And
then they give up runs right after that, after JV was in a groove. Why is there – it doesn't matter because they won the game, but, it's a big topic right now in the sport, just having a feel and letting dudes go. No? You didn't really buy into that one?
It is. This is the reaction you want your ace pitcher that you traded for, you brought back to have. You don't want them to be like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I did great. You sure? Like, I got you. What do you need?" You think Pablo Lopez last night was like, "Where am I at? 89 pitches? Take me out."
Yeah.
He wants to go CG. Those dudes, those are the guys that they want to have it out there. So I love it. I love that he said, "Are you sure?" It's not a controversy for the manager. We'll get into it with the whole, Ross Atkins stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, we could have had the same controversy with the Phillies. I'm on a thread with my buddies, and, we could have had that same controversy. There is definitely different situations where, to me, the reaction is warranted in the sense of Verlander's reaction. He wants to stay in that game.
Mm-hmm.
It is your job as a manager to put your team in a position to win the game. That is the difference. If your pitcher is like, "Hey, I totally understand. Thanks for taking me out in time." You didn't want him out there anyway.
Which some pitchers do say that, no?
Clearly now they do.
Yeah.
Clearly now they do.
You played with, you caught. So you played with some dudes probably that weren't like, let me at him. That were just like, all right, got you, Skip, thanks.
Yeah, but they're not pitching in this.
Right.
They're not pitching.
It's not those guys.
I had a conversation on one of the teams that I was with, and they were like, from your opinion as a catcher, what do guys think of this? What do guys think of this pitcher? And I was like, he's soft. They were like, that's what we thought. Kid didn't pitch in the postseason.
Didn't make the playoff roster because of it?
Didn't start. I mean, what are you going to do? Everybody's out there. You want the best. And that's the thing with these managers making these decisions. These managers aren't like, man, I wonder what would be the most controversial thing I could do. Or I wonder how I could piss Justin Verlander off. No, they're trying to make the best decision they can in the moment. Rob Thompson, he made the best decision he could in the moment. Worked out for him. Dusty Baker, it looked like it was going to go sideways. After old no blink, Jorge Polanco hit the 3-run homer. And then, of course, Royce Lewis, all he does is hit dingers. That's a 1-run ball game. If you don't have Superman, or I should say he's not Superman, he's Clark Kent. Yordan Alvarez is Clark Kent. Bryce Harper's Superman.
Yeah.
But
took the sweeper, smashed it off the pole.
Smashed it.
Gave him a little cushion, which was helpful. Plus, I will say the one thing I'm not worried about with Houston is, number one, Brian Abreu is the best postseason reliever in baseball over the last couple of years. He is insane and can give you more than 3 outs. And Ryan Presley actually has had his struggles during the regular season sometimes, especially in the second half this year, but he's fine. He looks fine. Not worried about him in the 9th.
He has zero.
They've got 2
heartbeat.
good ones there.
He has 0 heartbeat, but I was really surprised Neris. I thought Neris' stuff just plays so well in the playoffs, but he got hurt on fastballs. I couldn't believe it. Polanco whacked it, and then Royce Lewis whacked it. It was surprising to me. You know, nobody's gonna get on Maldonado because he's just a great game caller, all that stuff. But those were 2 calls that I was kind of surprised about.
You wanted splitters, more splitters.
Yes.
Yeah. Because sometimes he'll go in an outing and give you 3/4 plus just splitters.
But again, they had a huge lead.
Yeah.
Even after the Royce Lewis homer, they were still winning. And as a catcher, that's what it's about. I think Maldonado goes more splitters there if it's a 1-run game.
Okay, fair.
I think.
2 other components here. One, on the Houston side, Framber Valdez is the biggest problem for the Astros in my mind because he's not the same this year. And he has had his moments. He had his no-hitter. His velo's up this year, but he's leaving pitches up. They spoke about it on the broadcast. You see it in the game. And teams stack righties against him to get some oppo knocks. And you see a little more power because people are waiting for pitches up and they're getting more of them from him. Sometimes when he's on, you never get anything up that you like.
That they hit it a little bit. They did a really good job. I think AJ or Waino were the ones that said it. But with his velo up, that sinker flattens out a little bit. And I remember there was games, yes, the 12, 13 strikeout games where that curveball is just unbelievable. But every other pitch is just going down the bomb zone, and then change up. And you're like, what? How is this guy even hittable? It's not there. That fastball location is not as consistent as it was. And I think, but they're going to lean on him. He's their number 2. They're going to lean on him. He's the guy. So it's really on him. It's not on the team to be like, well, should we not throw him? Should we?
No, I'm not saying not to throw him, but he's not the Framber Valdez from 2022.
He's going to be pissed. He might be a guy you take out in the 4th inning.
Right.
If you go to game 5 here, I think he's lined up for game. No, he would be lined up. Yeah, he'd be lined up for game 5 because Verlander would go 4, and then he would go 5.
Might go short.
It might go really short, and I wouldn't question Dusty at all because that's a make or break game. So the situations are different, but you can't just lean on it. It's got to be, and that's got to be an in-game visual. What's that angle look like? He's not a tall pitcher, but what does that angle look like? If his angle, don't look at the velocity. If his velocity is 97, whatever it is, does not matter. If he doesn't have angle on his pitches, that sinker is nothing, and then it flattens out that changeup because they're never swinging at anything down in the zone, and the only thing he has is a curveball, so it could be a short outing.
And then lastly, with Carlos Correa, A+ move to move him up in the order. That was great.
There's been a couple of those instances, and we'll get to it.
Yeah, some work, some don't, but that one worked, and I'm going to give it a ton of credit by Rocco Baldelli and company. And then lastly, Astros fans, help me out here. I don't understand why there's a lot of booing coming from Minute Maid Park in Houston when Carlos Correa steps up to the plate as if he is a villain, as if he is like part of the 2017 cheating scandal, but the Astros home crowd's not, acknowledging that. I don't know. I'm very confused by the situation because he's getting booed more than anyone else. And you see, like, on social, a lot of Astros fans are like, so we're booing Correa now? Like, even before he had
Astros
some of the big APs. Yeah, some of the Astros fans are like, what are we doing? Why are we booing Carlos Correa? He didn't leave us. We didn't give him a legit offer. What are we doing?
That's not a fan base booing. That's trolls trolling.
Okay. Because you're not, obviously he's on the other team now. You're not getting up like, oh, Bravo, thank you for the World Series championship. But like, he gave you everything. That's not normal.
There's no beef. Built this.
Right. And there's no beef between Houston and Correa. So, they're just trolling, just booing them for fun.
It's to me, and I don't know, I know some Houston fans, people that live down there. This isn't a Houston fan thing. This is just a troll, like, hey, bro, hey, boo, like, save it.
He's used to it in the other parks. Let's get him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never even thought about that. Well, everybody boos him.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at this point, like, the dude gets booed everywhere his whole freaking career since 19. That's all.
And listen to the way this guy talks. Like, you go back to the beginning of this show, like the beginning of Foul Territory, he spoke for probably over an hour, just under an hour, so eloquently about what he wants to accomplish in Minnesota. So Minnesota fans are going to love it. But you know what? If you want to boo somebody, Houston, boo whoever didn't sign him, whether it's Jim Crane, whether it's the countless GMs that they had during the time, whether, like, this dude is everything.
There were 3 GMs with an opportunity.
That's what I mean. Like, it wasn't just one dude. Boo those guys for not re-signing him, thinking he wasn't that valuable. I get it. Hey, Jeremy Pena, player. Absolutely. But there's a place for Carlos Correa on every single team. The Phillies would find a place for Carlos Correa, and they have a really good shortstop in Trey Turner.
Mm-hmm. Mets could have found a place for him. I know he had his issues during the regular season, but he was a Met.
And a Giant.
And plantar fasciitis sucks, but dude is showing up right now in the postseason. All right, let's hit a poll question here. Then we'll talk to Russ Dorsey from Stadium coming up next. A simple question here. Do the teams with a bye get enough of an advantage? Yes, no, or would not matter? Let us know. WatchStadium.com/Foul Territory. Be right back on FT Live.
Yeah, I've always liked electronic music. I've liked it since I was even in high school, like in 08 and 07, 06, like even the 2000 stuff. And then it got really, really popular in the United States in like the late 2010s, the early to late 2010s, which I was in my early 20s. So I was hanging out at frat parties a lot. They needed DJs.
Yes.
I was like, I can do that. And I like that music. I was the one already, like, I hate to say burning the CDs or bringing the iPod, making the playlist in Spotify. That's me. That was always my job. So then might as well spin it live. And then just kind of got a mind of its own. That's how I get into stuff. And it's just like,
now are you playing this before, you playing this before the games and stuff? Did the team like that or no?
I did some stuff. Actually, in New York, Lindor bought me some speakers, and then I bought the turntables just to have there, and I maybe used them twice. But it was really fun those 2 times. I realized, like, when I'm here, I actually have other stuff to do. I can't just like work on mixing. But at home, actually, I bust mine out. It's like that was my big league purchase. Turntables were like, I got to the show and I was like, this is the thing I want. So I got it. It's the first thing I bought. So I'll have those forever. But yeah, I bust those out like every offseason for like a month, put them out on the table, playing 4 or 5 times and put them away.
Some people get a Breitling watch. T. May got himself some turntables.
Hell yeah, baby. I like it. Do you have a favorite, by the way, that you listen to? Favorite DJ, producer?
Yeah, it changes all the time. One that keeps popping back is always like High Low or Oliver Heldens, depending on which moniker you're using with this stuff. But I've been on a drum and bass kick big time lately.
And now back to foul territory.
Hanging with Stadium's Russ Dorsey. What's up, dude? Happy MLB playoffs as we continue here with the division series. So I know in round one you were covering that Diamondbacks-Brewers matchup, and now we see the Diamondbacks just absolutely take it to the Dodgers in game one. It really was Kershaw. I mean, it was over. It was Kershaw, cooked, and over. Were you surprised? And do you think if this becomes a series, Clayton Kershaw can pitch here again? Because I saw right after the game, like, Doc was clear. Hey, legend, he's going to be a part of this series, you know, if they get to a game 4. And I'm like, you sure?
Yeah, am I surprised that the D-backs played the way they played? To me, no. Right? I saw a team that looked prepared, looked ready to go into LA, a team that they faced all the time. And as you see right there, like, they're not afraid of the moment. They're not afraid of anybody. They know they're the youngest team in the postseason, and that doesn't bother them. And I think that gives them the freedom to go out there and say, the pressure's not on us. The pressure's on everybody else to try to beat us. And I think you saw a team in game 1 there against the Dodgers that was ready to play, that looked like they had just finished a series and they were ready to go into Dodger Stadium and get the best out of LA. And, you know, they made the Dodgers work, right? They made Clayton Kershaw search for answers, and he didn't have them. And so I think this is a series, and I think the fact that they were able to line up their starting pitching exactly the way they wanted to, Merrill Kelly probably could have gave you 9 if Torey Lovullo really wanted to. And then you get Zach Gallen here in game 2. This is not as easy as people probably thought it would be for the LA Dodgers.
Does this hamstring the Dodgers? The fact that now we know it's going to go at least to 4 games with a chance of Kershaw coming back in the 5th, having a legend, first ballot Hall of Famer on your roster that's your go-to guy, does this hamstring the Dodgers? Because they could have put anybody out there. Or were they being arbitrary about this decision and going, actually, our best pitcher right now is Bobby Miller. But we got to go with Kershaw because he is a Hall of Famer.
Personally, the way the season had gone, and because you didn't know what Kershaw's status was as far as the health, if I was managing, I'm probably giving the ball to Bobby Miller, right? We saw the D-backs in a game 1 of a wild card round where you lose game 1, your back is against the wall and say, Brandon Pfaadt, here you go. And they were able to not only win that game, they won the next game and, you know, won that series. I think for the Dodgers now, the one benefit that they have, and it might be something that people don't even think about, is that Emmett Sheehan gave them almost 3 innings of work after Kershaw came out of that game, where you blow through that bullpen, it puts you behind for the rest of the series. Now, you do have that weird off day in between, so you're probably in better shape than you would be other times. But I think the fact that you had a guy go out there and give you, you know, almost 90 pitches and kind of stabilize things, where that game could have gotten out of hand more than it already was, but it didn't. I think if you're the Dodgers, you just have to come back in game 2 and say, yo, clean slate. We have to come out and play like the team that we know we are.
Are the Diamondbacks better than the Dodgers if they get only 5 1/3 innings out of Zach Gallen? Because Zach Gallen this year hasn't gone more than 5 1/3 against the Dodgers.
I have a hard time believing that we see that version of Zach Gallen, only because the version of Zach Gallen that I saw against the Brewers, it looked like that, right, Larry? This guy might not even make it through 5 innings. And after giving up 2 early runs, he was lights out the rest of the way, made it almost 7 innings, and they were able to get to their high leverage guys at the back end, close that game out. If you see that Zach Gallen, I think the Dodgers are going to be in trouble. Because if you're able to line it up with Ginkel and then Paul Sewald in the back end, that gives them everything they want to do as far as lining up, you know, their starting staff. And I think Torey Lovullo is going to give Zach Gallen a lot of leash. I think we saw that in the wild card round, and especially now in the DS, where it's like you take this game against the Dodgers, you're going to be in really, really good shape where you could come back with, Merrill Kelly in game 4, come back with Gallen in game 5 if it gets to game 5. And so you're going to be able to play with house money a little bit where you could come back with Brandon Pfaadt in game 3 and then kind of bullpen that thing into where you want it to go. So do I think even with the history that you're talking about, the Dodgers or the D-backs, will have to play it close? No, I think you're going to go out there, or I think we're going to see Torey Lovullo go out there and say, here's the ball, big boy, go do your thing.
Do you think that the Diamondbacks have a us against the world mentality going on as they took down the Brewers? You take down the Dodgers in game 1. You certainly heard from Torey Lovullo after game 1 that they heard/saw people talking about the reseeding and how, the Diamondbacks maybe should be playing the Braves right now because they're definitely the shittiest team out of the bunch. And it's like, hold up, maybe not. Do you think they're actually carrying that? Because, hey, I know bulletin board material for some teams really carries. I mean, we spoke about the Orioles all season with Fangraph. So did you get those vibes at all from them when you were around them, that they were like, the mix of no one's expecting us to do anything, so let's prove it, but also we're playing with house money, which is actually a line that Gallen said.
Yeah, like I asked Zach Gallen after that clincher in Milwaukee if what he had learned from that group in that series. And he said, well, this is who we've been all year long. Now, obviously the stage is bigger, but the idea that they're not scared of anything, it kind of goes hand in hand with the youth, right? Like when you're a team that has been there and done that, there are a lot of things that you're not expecting that come up throughout a postseason run. I think for the D-backs, the fact that they haven't been there in a long time, I think the fact that, the team that they're facing in the Dodgers is one that they actually see a lot. I actually think that benefits them more than it would if they did see the Braves in this round, a team that you don't see as much. But I think there's a little bit of us against the world where, maybe people don't believe in you as much as they believe in the Dodgers, who have been there a lot, or the Braves, who was the best team throughout the regular season. And I think they're okay with that. And I think they like to be able to prove people wrong. But I don't think that Torey Lovullo is the type of manager that wants to just rely on that. He wants to show his team to show that, hey, we're a really good team, and we deserve to be here. So I think it's more of we deserve to be here than we have to show all the naysayers that we're really good.
And they're fun to watch. They're an exciting team to watch. Now, Russ, I think so far, me and Scotty, we're winning. We're winning right now. You're losing. You're just not having your best interview right now. Do you feel like you've had too much time off since Thursday, since you've been on the show? Can you feel
too much rest? Did I not come in with the energy that I usually give on right, 1 day's rest and then come back on?
Because you're normally here every day. You're normally on, and it just seems like you just don't have quite the same energy.
I don't have my best self.
Yeah.
Right? You need to bring somebody else in here to come talk to me. Right? It can't just be you guys. You guys are the high leverage. I hate
you need
so
simulated
much,
appearances on another show.
Yes.
And there needs to be a studio audience.
So much they should have played the D-backs because, they were the number one. If you're that good, you should be able to play anybody and it shouldn't matter. Right? If you're the best team in baseball, if you're the Braves and, you hit the ball out of the ballpark, you tied the record for homers in a season, right? Nobody can beat the Braves. All right, show us then. Show us why you were the best team in baseball all season long. I don't think the advantage you got was that you got to line up your pitching exactly the way you wanted to. Other teams didn't get to do that, right? The D-backs started Brandon Pfaadt in game 1 of the NL wildcard round, right? The benefit of that you get is you get to say, all right, Spencer Strider game 1, Max Fried game 2. And if you lose, that's on you. That's not on everybody else. We don't have to change the formatting, and we don't have to reseed. Play better, right? I know, I think I saw a stat today that the team that has more rest it loses a lot in the last 5 years or so. I don't like the idea that you were the best team. You were rewarded by having the bye and getting to get healthy. If you had guys banged up, you get to, pick exactly who you want for the first couple games of that series. And now all of a sudden, because you didn't play your best game in game one, now it's not fair. We need to change the rules. Stop.
I'd also like to point out there was a team that won game one of the ALDS, the Houston Astros, and your starting pitching matchup was Justin Verlander against Bailey Ober. Okay? It's not a slight to Bailey Ober, but Pablo Lopez is better. Sonny Gray is better. Those pitchers were used. So the Astros won partially because they were able to set up their pitching at home to welcome in a team. So they did get a dub out of it. Not the only reason, but definitely a major reason if you caught the first pitch that he delivered to Jose Altuve.
He gone.
But like, how whack is that? Like, why are we caping for teams that didn't play well, right? Yo, you were the best team in the regular season. Whoop-de-doo. But you got to be able to come out and play like that team in the postseason, and we shouldn't just change the rules because those teams are losing, right? Like, if you lose to a 87 win team and you won 115 games, nobody gives a damn if you were the number one seed.
No doubt. And it's more of a, I won't even get into it. It's just like, oh, well, let's just make sure we pave the path for the best team. Like, if you really wanted to pave the path for best team, 2 teams in the National League, 2 teams in the American League, go get them. This is exciting. This is exactly what we sign up for the playoffs. And to me, because we're always second-guessing managers in the playoffs, this is how you make the big bucks in the playoffs. To me, push aside John Schneider, push aside Rocco Baldelli's moves, push aside all these other moves. Was Snideker's move to move Albies to out of their, like, they hit the same lineup for I don't know how many hundreds of games in this season, and he shifts the lineup in the playoffs? Shouldn't he have been getting more flack for that?
I think the advantage that Snit gets is that his teams have been so successful. They've been in these moments before, and you kind of get benefit of the doubt, right? I think the fact that you have John Schneider, newer manager, the move that he made didn't work, so it's a little bit of outcome bias. I think that you just get benefit of the doubt that way, right? Because you've been managing for a longer time. The moves that you made usually work. It just didn't that time. But I do think there is something to the whole lineup thing, because I've talked to managers a ton over the years about lineups, and it's the one thing that you ask them about that usually they'll get a little skittish on. Like, well, why are people like? I know here in Chicago for a long time, something that people knocked Joe Madden for was the lineups. And why are you batting this guy here? Why is Schwarber leading off? Why is Rizzo leading off? Like, why can't you have a consistent lineup every day? And like, it's a thing that he always pushed back at people on. And so I think for Snit, maybe you outsmart yourself a little bit. Like, maybe you just say, well, we can tinker here, tinker there. This lineup hit 307 home runs during the regular season. Exactly the way they were lined up. Let's probably keep it there, right?
And they ran into good pitching. They're going to run into more good pitching. And that's what makes it a great series, too. Like, the Phillies have, in my mind, a pitching advantage. And the Braves should have a little bit more of an advantage on offense. Just didn't see it in game one. Russ, good stuff, man. We'll talk to you later this week, all right?
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. All right, so coming up next, we are going to talk to Kaitlyn McGrath from The Athletic. She covers the Toronto Blue Jays. And the battle is on. John Schneider versus Ross Atkins. Who made the move to remove Barrios? That's next.
I had someone point this out to me this morning, someone else in baseball, that Kikuchi, he's not a guy that comes in dirty innings. He's a starting pitcher. When I say dirty innings, I mean with runners on base. So why not put a left-handed reliever in that spot? Have him get out of the inning, and then you've got Kikuchi later. There are all kinds of ways we can debate this, but the essence of what I wrote today is simply that the game should determine what is going on, not the numbers. And you use the numbers. We all want the information. The information is amazing. We know more today about performance and player performance than we've ever known. And players appreciate it in many ways because they use the technology, they use the data to get better. Brent Rooker had a Twitter thread about that this week. It was really thoughtful and well said by him. There has to be a balance. And teams talk about balance. Oh, yes, we balance everything, the subjective and the objective. They don't act like they balance it. They generally, not all, some, go one way. And that's where the problem comes in. There has to be feel for what is going on in the field. That was what I wrote today. My first 3 words today: bring back feel.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm worried, like, especially John Schneider. I mean, I don't know him super well, but probably going over that with a bunch of people. And if he just decided, screw it, I'm going to leave Berrios in, and he gives up a 2-run homer, they might fire him in the offseason, because clearly it's not just him making that call.
Right, and we don't know exactly who is making the decision. I got a text from somebody this morning saying, hey, the next time something like this happens, put the guy who recommended that and was really responsible for that action, the lifting of Berrios, put him up in the press conference and not Schneider. Schneider, like all managers, has to be the spokesman, has to take the hit. We all know that's not necessarily fair.
And now, back to foul territory.
All right, back on FT Live, and joining us for the first time on this show, Kaitlyn McGrath, who writes for The Athletic, covers the Toronto Blue Jays. Kaitlyn, great to have you on. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we like to do proper burials for teams as they go down. We have not really officially done that yet for the Blue Jays. So we do that right now, but also we do that with timeliness in mind, because there is a war of words being exchanged at the moment between John Schneider and Ross Atkins. So just to give some people some context here, Atkins just the other day said on the Berrios decision to remove him early, quote, "I do not make those decisions. It is not the front office." That was a unique strategy. I don't know if I've seen that. And then later also, John Schneider made that decision. I was surprised he was coming out. I mean, you cover, Schneider and Atkins and this team every day. What did you take from that? And do you believe it?
I was surprised. I think we all were, like all the reporters in that room were really surprised, because the Blue Jays are a team that tends to really talk about collaboration. And when I was watching that game, and I think along with everybody, when that move happened, it felt so choreographed. Like, Berrios is dealing. He walks Royce Lewis in the 4th inning, which didn't even seem like a bad walk to me, because he's the guy that killed you the day before. And it's like, okay, don't let him kill you. It seemed like a competitive walk. But then the minute it happened, John Schneider comes out. He takes some Berrios out of the game. Kikuchi had been warming like the entire game, essentially. Obviously, he's a starter. He has been a starter the whole year, so he has to warm a long time. And it got to the point where he was warming so much that he probably had to be used at that point. It's like use him or lose him. So it just felt very choreographed. And so when you are watching that, you think, well, this has obviously been planned out meticulously. John Schneider was kind of given an instruction, like, you got to do it at this point. And that's how it seemed to unfold. And then even after the game, when John Schneider was talking to us, obviously very emotional because the season just ends, but the way that he phrased that decision, it was very much talking about me or I, but also like talking about we as an organization. Whenever we as an organization make a decision, we're making that decision to win. And so then you come into Ross Atkins press, which by the way happened on a Saturday. Let's just put that out there. And and it's a holiday weekend in Canada too, so it's Thanksgiving this weekend. So anyway, that's just the full context everybody needs. And then Ross was basically like, nope, that was John Schneider. And yes, they talked about how the decision was talked about as a group, as the coaching staff talked about it, advanced scouts are there talking about it, but it seemed very clear that Ross Atkins wanted to make a distinction that the front office was not making that decision. He said at one point, the front office is not in those meetings. I'm not in those meetings. So it felt very clear that he wanted to make it so that the front office wasn't held responsible for this decision, which is weird because at the same time, like, just the decision was made as a group and it was an organizational decision. Just own it. Like, it didn't work and your season's over. Is it the only reason your season's over? No, you didn't score any runs. You're not going to win a series when you score one run and have one extra base hit. But it was just odd to me that it wasn't just like the onus wasn't just taken as an organization.
Yeah, it really felt. I mean, I have a special place in my heart for my first ever roommate, John Schneider, in baseball. Like, we stayed in the same room in Florida when we first got drafted together. So I also know the guy. And have you ever seen any autonomous decisions by John Schneider throughout this entire season that you followed the Blue Jays?
Well, I would say that, like, honestly, when John Schneider makes a decision in a game, whether it works or not, I found that he's very, like, clear cut when he talks about it. Like, there has been decisions, obviously, in an entire season of baseball, there's going to be decisions that a manager makes and he doesn't work. And I remember, like, not that long ago, there was a decision to not pinch run for Alejandro Kirk, who's obviously not a speedy guy. And he tried to score from third. It didn't work out. The Blue Jays lose that game by 1 run. And so that was, like, a very controversial decision. Fans were obviously unhappy with it. The Blue Jays were in a period where they really needed to win some games. And I remember after that, it was like John Schneider very clearly said, this is why I made the decision. This is what I was thinking. If it was this circumstance, I would have done this. If it was this circumstance, I would have done this. But I didn't do it because of these various reasons. And I found throughout the season, he was very, very clear. And I found that he often really did own his decisions. And so after the game too, I just felt like he talked a lot more about, like, groupthink and about using we and as an organization. I also found he was, like, a little bit less clear cut talking about the decision. Like, just it felt like something that, whether he was wholly convicted or not, I can't really say in that moment, but it just felt like it was a decision that had a lot of brains going at it. And maybe it wasn't something that, or I felt like it wasn't something that John Schneider obviously just came up with on his own.
So let's get to the fun part then, the drama of the situation, because Ross is going strong that it was John and not him. So there are so many layers here. Like, number one, why not just kind of keep this over everyone and let it pass? Number two, how are those two getting along now for another season and looking at each other that way? Number three in my head goes, okay, if Ross really roasted him and John Schneider actually didn't make the call completely on his own, eventually word's going to get out from either John or somebody else around the team, which could include players, coaches, whatever, that are going to say, that's not the real story. So then that's a huge hit on the reputation. Like, my thing is, Ross is coming out here so strong right now that if it comes out eventually that he was lying and it wasn't completely on one human, then how do I, like, ever want to work with someone like that as a player, a coach, or even an owner? You know, like, is he worried about his job? There's so much going through my head on this.
Yeah, it was, like, somewhat of the strange part of the press conference too, is that you're, on the one hand, you're talking about John Schneider making this very controversial decision, and so many questions are happening about that. But then on the other hand, it's like John Schneider will 100% guarantee be back as manager next year. So you know he's coming back. You know, like, they're gonna, assuming Ross is coming back too, like, you know that they're gonna be working together. And Ross also talked about the fact that, like, he's been talking to John over the last 24 hours. They've been in communication. So then I wondered, like, did John know that he was going to do this? Like, did John give him the okay? Did he say, fine, you could throw me under the bus? Like, I don't know. It is so strange. It is a weird situation for sure. And, you know, again, I just go back to, like, why not just own the decision as an organizational one? Like, kind of like you were saying, like, it didn't work. And it was a disappointing finish. And the team looks kind of silly because I think, honestly, they went into the postseason with probably one of the stronger rotations in terms of just, like, the depth of it. You had 4, actually really, like, 5 starters that you would feel good about, I think, in any start pretty much. And it just felt like they didn't tap into that. It felt like they got in their own way, especially in the second game, in terms of using Kikuchi where they did. I was listening to Ken Rosenthal, like, before we came on, and I agree. Like, you could have just brought in a reliever like a Tim Meza in that situation and then brought in Kikuchi later to cover off a bulk of those innings. So again, like, it does feel like it's going to be awkward. You know, I guess you hope that John Schneider, who is, like, a guy that is easy to get along with, I find that that's probably one of his best qualities as a manager, is that he seems to be able to connect with people of all types of players, all type of media, all type of executives. And he's very good at communicating. I think he's actually, like, really clear when he talks. And so that's, like, one of his strengths. So I guess you hope that they can move forward. And presumably, if they've been talking in the 24 hours prior to that news conference, they probably talked after. Like, maybe John kind of knew this was was how it was going to unfold. But it was just strange. And I would say, like, the reaction in Toronto has been very strong in terms of people being kind of shocked at Ross's comments. And I think almost you almost had a reverse situation where maybe fans were kind of angry at John Schneider right after that game 2 and right after the loss, but then kind of hearing his boss throw him under the bus a little bit, I feel like now people are like, oh, I kind of feel bad for John Schneider. Like what is going on in this organization?
Especially if he has to live with this for 162 games year round, this type of boss that would do something like that. If our side of it is correct, and if we know John Schneider, all this stuff, but let's say, he really wasn't throwing him under the bus. What is Ross Atkins trying to protect? Is there any inkling of who he's trying to protect? Because he was very specific on a lot of things, like, oh, nobody from the front office. It's only uniform personnel and Taryn, I'm not sure what Taryn's last name is, but the advanced scout is in that meeting, which I'm going to go with one of the people that are in uniform, because he said in uniform personnel is a direct connection to the front office. That is their exact role. And I'm not going to say the guy's name, but so there's a connection to the front office. So who's he trying to protect that's in that by these comments?
Yeah, and I wonder too, is it a semantics thing? Is Ross saying I didn't make that call, the front office didn't make that call, in that literally it's not like he called down to the dugout at that moment and said, get Kikuchi going, pull him in. Is it purely a semantics thing? Because I don't just being around the Blue Jays, they talk about collaboration so much. It is, if you rank the number one word used in press conferences over the years with the Blue Jays, with Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, it is collaboration. They talk about it all the time. So it's kind of stunning and hard to believe from not just me, but all of the media around this team that all of a sudden, this major decision you're talking about, well, it was just one guy, or it was really in a closed door meeting with the coaching staff, that front office didn't have anything to do with it. It just doesn't really make sense to me. And I think, I don't know, I know that Ken Rosenthal again, wrote that column about having feel in the game. So are the Blue Jays trying to protect the fact that no, they still have a feel for the game, or they're not just this organization that the front office pulls the strings and everyone else is a puppet? Are they trying to maintain the perception that the front office is very separate from the coaching staff? I wonder if that's sort of what they're trying to protect. But at the same time, we all know how baseball works now. We all know how organizations work now. We all know that front offices and executives and analytics teams and all those guys are so involved in every decision making. So at this point, it feels strange to not, again, just own the decision as an organization. And, I think you could have also just leaned on the fact that there was a lot of other flaws with the team too. The pitching decision didn't work out, and it's unfortunate. And I think that definitely sort of highlights and colors that loss. It's the most memorable part about it, just because of how much it blew up, I guess, in their face. But the offense really was an issue this entire season. And anybody that's watched the Blue Jays, I think all season long, knew going into the postseason, the major question here is the offense going to come through? Are they going to be able to hit? And the answer was no. I mean, they could hit, but they just didn't hit for much power. They didn't hit for any extra base hits, really. They made those base running mistakes. Vladdy, look at him. He made a really bad blunder on the bases, and no one's really talking about that because, again, everyone's just talking about the Barrios decision and the fallout from that. And so it's a very strange time in the organization where I think there's actually a lot of bigger issues at play here. I think you have to figure out why this core is 0-6 in the postseason, right? Going back to 2020, the Vlad, Bo sort of led team that you thought was going to be leading the way for this organization, and getting deep in the postseason and bringing championships to Toronto. Well, they have not won a postseason game yet. You talk about the Blue Jays wanted to be a team that did all the little things right. Well, they made a ton of mistakes and they did not do all the little things right. Defensively, they were really good. Pitching, they were really good, but the offense just did not deliver all year. And so I think there's larger issues at play here. And if I was Ross, I don't know why you would continuously want to just point to that one decision and make that a bigger story.
So then lastly, we're at about a minute to go here. What do you think happens this offseason? Anything to boost the offense? Is there just like some switching up with the roster? I mean, they made the Varsho move last year, which actually worked out much better on the Arizona side so far in the short term with Gurriel and Moreno. So what are they talking about? What do you see? It's not like a free agent class full of big hitters, and Chapman might be gone.
Yeah, there could be a Belt could be gone. There's a few guys. Kiermaier could be gone. We'll see. And the Blue Jays, they're going to go out. They could make trades. They still have a decent system where they can make trades, and they've shown the ability to do that. Like you mentioned, the Varsho trade. I think, there's going to have to be some holes to fill. But I also think like their best chance is to get some internal improvement. Like you got to get more from Vlad. You got to get some more maybe from George Springer. You got to figure out what happened with Alejandro Kirk this year. Get more from him. There's Varsho. You want more power from him. You mentioned him. So I think there's got to be a lot of internal improvement on the offensive side. I think you feel pretty good about the pitching. Most of the pitching is coming back. So they don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting there, which is a good thing. But there's going to have to be some maneuvering, I think, with the offense. Plug some holes, get someone for the middle of your lineup. Honestly, like Teoscar Hernandez, maybe a reunion. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Lourdes Gurriel, he's a free agent too. Maybe bring him back, get the gang back together, but we'll see. But yeah, internal improvement is going to be really important because look at this lineup. You should be getting more from it, and there's going to be some holes to fill as well.
Kaitlyn, awesome catching up with you. Would love to have you back sometime. Can follow her at Kaitlyn C. McGrath on Twitter, and we'll post some of the clips here too so everyone can get a look. But thank you so much. Enjoy the offseason. I know it came quick.
It did come quick, but thank you so much.
Cheers. Appreciate you. All right, we'll come back. We'll go over our picks for tonight's games next on FT Live, and AJ's coming soon.
What's a better chance? Oakland succeeding in Vegas or Oakland eventually moving to Isengard?
I'll say succeeding in Vegas because a lot of those guys that I played with are going to probably be on that Vegas team, and I want them to succeed. I from a bit, I try not to worry too much about the business side because I'm frankly getting really tired of hearing it's a business over and over again. So, do what you will, take the team where you're going to take it. At the end of the day, there's no control, but like I said before, it's the same thing with the projectability of everything and everything everywhere all the time. Now we're just projecting value. We're not actually looking at where it is, what's happening in front of us anymore. We're just predicting the future constantly. We just look at what Jerry DiPoto said the other day. It's just like at some point you just got to go with how it feels at the moment. And I loved Oakland fans playing against them. Even with how many were there this year, that reverse boycott game was absolutely electric. They show that if they choose to, they like to be there and they just feel off put from the team. So I think that it just sucks. It sucks all around for everybody.
What's something that you think would be cool, entertaining, good for the game, good for business, whatever?
This one's very specific. I've actually put a lot of thought on this. The ballpark app or the MLB app, I would focus really heavily on the customization of it. So being able to pick different camera angles, being able to pick different broadcasts and mix and match how you want the broadcast to be. I know there's a little bit of that, but it'd be cool to for example, be able just to patch into the Mariners cam that's going around the whole time and just be in that the whole time because it's on. They just switched to it, right? And they have the ability to do this stuff. So it's I know some of it's in the works, but I think it would be cool to be able to do that.
And now back to Foul Territory.
What's up? We're back. FT Live and the world famous Fox broadcaster AJ Pierzynski from his hotel, freshly in there. Let's go. We're going to talk all about the American League side of things in just a sec. I'll let your voice rest while you do your Mr. Roboto moves. So let's do our BetMGM locks for the day as we first look back at little money bags action, because on Friday we gave you hints and Kratz's hint was incredible. I posted about it. Yordan Alvarez walk. He homered and then picked up his walk.
Wait a minute. Why did I go down?
What do you mean? I don't
I was above 3,000.
I love how we always check this now. All right, we'll check. You can dispute it with our accounting firm when we get back.
I feel like I'm lower than I should be also.
Oh, here we go.
No,
here we go.
No, you're right where you should be.
Wasn't my 9,450? Like, while we're on that, like, okay.
The one day was 1.045.
That's true. I was at $1 instead of 1,000. But anyway, let's do our picks for tonight. We got 2 games. So, Kratz, you go first.
All right. Well, it's easy. I'm going to go to the Braves-Phillies game. I have 4 punch-outs for both Wheeler and for Fried, and Fried's given me 1 walk. That has happened. 4 punch-outs has happened for Wheeler because he doesn't need a walk, 20 out of his last 20 starts. Okay, so maybe the regular season doesn't matter. I get it. 11 versus 11 versus the Braves, okay? So that's a lock. Fried has done this in he has walked a guy and struck out 4 or more in 8 of his 9 starts.
Wow. Incredible. Okay, so chances are very high, but Fried coming off a longer rest. AJ,
Yep.
What do you got? We got to go quick.
Zach, Kratz and I are kind of on the same page. Zach Wheeler, 5 punchies. Max Fried, 3 and 1 walk. I think.
Wow.
Gets me plus 105. I know Fried's on short innings, pitches, whatever he's going to be on. But he's going to get 3 punchies. There's some lefties out there. He can figure it out.
This is fascinating. You go down a K on Fried, but up a K on Wheeler. I'm going to the other game. I got Bobby Miller getting at least 4 Ks. I know the Diamondbacks don't have a ton of swing and miss like compared to some others, but Bobby he's the next Walker Buehler in the playoffs. Like, I think he's going to shove for as many innings as they allow him to, and I'll take under 9.5 runs. So I bought myself up there to get to minus 121 because the normal line for that game is at 8 at the moment. So I was like, it's a little tight. Let me get to 9.5. I'm not feeling amazing about it, but it's a lock. I was thinking about just riding Bobby Miller, but I'm like, what if he doesn't go as long? So anyway, bonus code for you for your $1,500 first bet offer is FOUL. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android or visit BetMGM.com. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your new BetMGM Sportsbook account and place that first wager. Receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. If that happens, your bonus bets will be available once your wager is settled. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Be right back.
So I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah. What's up? More FT Live Playoff Edition. Braun, Kratz, Pierzynski on location covering the Twins and the Astros. You can hear them on Fox. And also you can hear all of us a little bit later in bunches. 6 o'clock Eastern time is when the Braves-Phillies game starts. We are doing a live watch party. So you can watch the game. We're not showing the game. We're not allowed. We didn't get rights yet. We're trying. We're bidding. Yeah, we're bidding. So media reporters, you can report. I did place a fake bid in, but we will actually give you our own commentary on the game. You can check out the scores and the stats and all of that on FT YouTube, a second screen experience. Oh, and I'd like to announce not just us 3 and some other special guests, but we have a confirmed FT Live regular who will also join us for a little work. Ross Stripling.
It's going to be great.
That's going to be awesome. Can't wait. A little analysis from Mr. Stripling on 2 teams that he knows pretty well. He's been a National League pitcher quite a bit. I know he had some time with the Blue Jays, but a lot of Dodgers and Giants and all that. So anyway, looking forward to that. Let's jump right into more Minnesota-Houston first. Then we'll get to the Orioles and Rangers. I know people have been waiting for us to talk about them too. But AJ, the floor is yours after these first two. Surprised or expected with how this series is going? Anything that really stood out to you? And just to give you like a kind of 20 seconds on what we covered so far and any reactions there. Moving Correa up in the order, we both agreed, cool. Booing Correa, we both agreed, weird. Removing Verlander, when he said, you sure? I felt like he should have gotten another inning, but Kratz was okay with it. Anything else? Or that was the big stuff?
And Correa's a tryhard.
Correa's a tryhard, but
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
And one more. Framber Valdez is not the same in 2023 as he was last year.
Okay. Before I even get into this, can I ask you guys a question? Because this has been eating at me. I literally just got here from Houston, just got to the hotel right on the show. When you guys are on an airplane, if the guy in front of you reclines his seat, do you get mad?
Oh, my gosh. You don't even want to start with me.
Are you serious? You're not allowed to recline?
Oh, just ask me. Just ask me.
I'm 100 flights a year guy, and the seat goes back on me 85% or more of the time. Not once has someone asked me. Not once. I don't see the etiquette like that.
I need it. My knees are on the seat. When it gets moved back, I just need a heads up so that I can just slide them down a little bit. That's it.
So some people, okay, no one ever asks for me. Okay?
No,
I'm going off
no.
100 a year. No one ever asks, but AJ, there are two approaches, and one approach is downright rude. The right approach is you hit the button and you start to lay it back nice and slow so they can see it coming. Unless they're sleeping, they know that it's coming. I would say a little less than half the time, here it is. Ready? like they were attacking me, like kind of like a punch in the knee. That is bullshit.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm asking this question because I left it, bright and early this morning to get there. And so my second flight, I had to make a layover because there are no direct flights from Houston to Minnesota that weren't full. So we made a layover. And I'm in the front row. I'm in the bulkhead. And I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep because I have to do foul territory. We have the watch along the whole deal. So as soon as we take off, I put my seat back, right? And I don't care, fast, slow, whatever. I'm like, boom. I'm sleeping. I have my headphones in, and I can hear the guy behind me. And he starts hitting my seat. Boom, 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 boom. Constant for about 5 minutes. And I just don't say anything. And I can hear him talking. He's like, this guy can't believe he put his seat back. I mean, how rude is he? Da-da-da-da. And he's hitting my seat. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to ignore this. So finally he quits. And I'm just about asleep. And I get a tap on my shoulder like this. And I'm like, yeah? And it's the stewardess. And the stewardess guy goes, can you please move your seat up? The guy behind you needs his tray table down. I'm like, excuse me? You woke me up to ask me to put my seat back up? And he goes, yeah, because the guy behind you. And I go, well, his tray table's not down now. And he goes, well, he's going to eat eventually. And I go, okay. And I look, and I turn around and look, and they were playing cards. There's four of these goofball guys. They're playing cards, making all kinds of racket at 6 a.m. And I'm like, I have to move my seat up so the guy behind me can play cards? The guy's like, yeah, that would be the nice thing to do. And I was like,
my gosh.
So this is where I feel
got to be kidding me. I paid for my first class seat. If they don't want it to recline, don't let me hit the button and have it go. Because I know people that recline on me, and I just am like, okay, I'll have to deal with it. I don't like it, but screw it. I got to deal with it. And then we had some words after the flight, but whatever.
What? No, whatever. That's the whole part. I want to hear the words after the flight.
That's the punchline.
I too would have words during the flight. I would have turned around and said, hey, not sure if you've been on an airplane before, but I go on 100 flights a year, and you're allowed to put your fucking seat back. And just because you want to eat or play cards doesn't mean shit. So shut the fuck up, or you'll get kicked off the plane.
Well, see, I didn't want to do that. So I'm actually proud of myself for not going that way, because that normally is how I would have reacted. But because of, everything that's happening, I didn't want to do that. So I get up, and there's this older lady next to me, and she was very sweet, and she's probably 70s, 80ish. And I said, can I help you? And she's like, can you get my bag down for me? So I get up and get her bag down. And I look at the guy. One of the guys was 4 guys. And I said, you guys have a good flight? And the guy's like, yeah, did you? I go, it would have been better if you guys didn't play cards and make all that noise. And the guy said, you've been waiting all flight to say something to me. And I go, well, I know you're not going to say anything to me. You had to go get the stewardess to say your thoughts. And the guy's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. I got my stuff and walked off. And then when I got off the plane, I had to wait for a bunch of the Fox people, and I'm sitting there waiting. And one of the guys walks by me and goes, "I hope you get some sleep." And I go, "Whatever, douchebag." And he turned and walked off.
So you got some words in.
Of course I was going to. I mean, I wasn't going to let it go.
Wow.
Oh, that is awesome. And first class? I have no
first class.
problem anybody putting their seat down in first class. First class, there is so much room. Just if my knees are in, like sometimes if I have no heads up in the regular business class or no, whatever coach, my knees are in the seat.
Yeah, coach is
You
tough.
come back.
What's coach? Wait, what's coach?
Yeah, I know. You haven't been in coach for a minute. I get it.
Coach is tough, but he ran into a first class douche.
That is big time. You got absolutely punked by that dude.
You're totally.
Hope you get some
100%
sleep.
fun. Yeah.
Okay, good. That was
Okay.
working.
Right, now let's get back to the baseball stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know.
Let me see. Yeah. Let me see. I'm not going to name the airline either because normally they're my favorite, so I'm disappointed in them.
It wasn't their fault.
No, it's not the airline.
It was the stewardess's fault, though, for the steward, I guess you would call him, flight attendant, for waking me up and telling me that. Like, who does that? Because I even have when I go to sleep on a plane, I mean, I put my hat like this.
You're out.
Oh, yeah. I cover up, and I'm gone.
You did absolutely nothing wrong. Yes, especially in first. I can't. I'm going to be angry unless we go to.
Okay, let's go to baseball. Okay, so let me see. Justin Verlander was at 93 pitches. I understand why Dusty Baker took him out. He had a loaded bullpen. They were up 5-0. He figured he could get 9 outs in pretty safe fashion, which Hector Neris came in, hit the first guy, gave up the 2 homers, made it 5-4, and it got real hairy there for a minute. Moving Carlos Correa, that's kind of their standard right-handed lineup, although Rocco Baldelli did say before the game he likes him better against lefties higher in the lineup, plus it's the playoffs, and he wants to beat the crap out of the Astros, as we all know. So he put him in a more RBI, a higher spot in the order. Just so happened he came up at every big situation and got a hit. He had an incredible night, and his defense last night was unbelievable also. His leadership and everything else he does on that team, everyone follows him. Pablo Lopez talked about it on the broadcast. We talked to him earlier in the year, and he gave us basically a rundown of what he does, and it's amazing. And how everyone follows him is also amazing. So he can be a tryhard all he wants. But, listen, in the playoffs, he gets it done. I'm sure you guys saw the stat, most RBIs. He's like 3rd or 4th all-time in playoff RBIs. So this dude just gets it done in the playoffs. What else did you guys hit on that I missed?
Framber?
Framber is not the same guy. Framber's throwing harder this year, okay? And he's also throwing the ball higher. He went into the offseason looking for more velocity. I don't know why, but he's giving up – since he threw the no-hitter, he's giving up way too many home runs, and he is not the same guy. And also when you talk to the Astros guys, they're taking him more to right field. And you saw a bunch of hits up the middle to right field from the right-handed hitters. He's missing spots. He gets too emotional sometimes. And, I mean, you see that a lot with him. That's why Maldonado has to play to try to keep him calm. But he's just not the same guy he was the last couple of years. And nobody in the Astros can really figure it out.
So now where are we at? We go back to Minnesota. It's 1-1.
It's cold. I know that. It's like 50 degrees.
It's cold. I will tell you this. The Astros have enough dudes that have been doing this for a while. I don't think they give a shit about going back to Minnesota. Like, ooh, we're going back to Minnesota. I actually expect their offense to play better coming up here. Like, I think they're going to win at least one, if not both, of the next 2. I think this at least – no? You think I think the chance of the Twins taking 2 in a row in Minnesota against a Houston team that's done this a lot are very slim.
I agree. And they played awful at home this year. They were under 500 this year at home. I think they were 39-42 at home, the Astros, and they were, 20-something games over 500 on the road. So they definitely have played better on the road. Their offense travels way better. They don't hit at home. It's the numbers are crazy how much they don't hit at home. The roof was open yesterday, which they're 0-2 this year. I guarantee if it goes back to Game 5, the roof will be closed. What I was told is the Twins asked the Astros MLB to open the roof, and the Astros didn't have a significant reason for why it was closed, so the MLB made them open it. And the Astros like playing when it's closed. But I guarantee at Game 5, there will be like, there's a rainstorm or a snowstorm or a blizzard or a windstorm or something to get the roof closed. But listen, here's the thing about the first 2 games. Okay, the first game, Verlander pitches against Ober, right? Verlander's their ace. Ober is arguably their 4th best pitcher, their number 4 starter. The Astros are supposed to win that game, okay? Game 2, Pablo Lopez has been unbelievable for the Twins. I mean, he's no Luis Arraez, Scott, but he's close, okay? Framber Valdez hasn't been very good in the second half. So Twins kind of supposed to win that game. They went out and did it. Now, game 3, you get Sonny Gray at home, and then you get Christian Javier. Here's my question. Do you guys remember the last time the Astros were down? Everyone's saying they're done, and Christian Javier went out and pitched in the playoffs. You guys remember that game?
No hitter?
Yeah, he went out and started a combined no-hitter. So the Astros, I don't think, are worried. The question is, who's going to pitch in game 4? Is it going to be Joe Ryan? And who's going to start for the Astros? I mean, Urquidy, I guess? Bullpen day? I don't know. Those are the 2 biggest questions, but I know this. I want to see a game 5. I want to see Verlander, Pablo Lopez, game 5, winner take all.
Yeah, that'd be sick. I want to maybe just start Abreu and just let him go forever and see if anyone ever scores off him again.
He hasn't. What was the stat? Did you see the stat? He hasn't given up a run since like July 15th or something crazy.
I haven't missed a word of you, Wayno, and
you guys were
Adam.
Awesome. Let's not build you up because you're tormenting people on planes. You can't say bomb on an airplane.
What if I was a bombardier?
Bomb. But you guys were awesome. Seriously, like you and Wayno. Like I got so many comments from other people, like talking about like you, whatever. Fox is never going to listen to what I say, but you guys were awesome together, and I think you do a great job by yourself. But with Wayno, it just adds a component where you guys are really. It brings more people into listening, and I think it's awesome.
Agreed. Yeah, it was awesome.
Did you guys see Pablo Lopez's interview in the game yesterday?
Yeah,
it was incredible. I know Wayno hit on it, but it was really like it was thoughtful. It was team oriented. It was about things bigger than him. It was just really one of those interviews that you're like, okay, that's pretty damn cool that he did that. And I know people are against the interviews in the game, but to catch him right there with the raw emotion was pretty awesome.
No, that was awesome. It was. And Pablo Lopez, this is for fans that don't know who he is, and many don't, right? He's on Miami on Marlins teams that aren't in the playoffs, finally joins the Twins this year. You know, Twins don't get a ton of attention during the regular season, and people finally – this is what the playoffs are for. This is why when we don't get, like – I hate to bring Trout and Ohtani into it, it's different. Everyone's watching. It's different in our sport, or many people are watching, and they get to learn about Pablo Lopez and go, wow, that interview was incredible the way that he spoke. And guess what? He speaks like that every time. That's how he is. We just had him in Cincinnati, and I've interviewed him probably 8-9 times because he almost always says yes for the in-game stuff when I used to call more games. So he's awesome. He's a great speaker. He also has that like tone too that just is like very welcoming. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like the way that his voice is
soft.
portrayed.
It's like a soft voice, right? It's like
yes. It's a calming presence.
It's calm, but it's still like there's still strength. Like he's confident.
It's not meek.
No,
it's not meek.
It's like I can see when you go to the mound. It's like we good, and it's like all good, and
whatever you would like to throw.
Yeah,
like that is nice. So
okay,
AJ, this is Scott didn't even know it, but he just settled the argument that we've had the entire year.
No, stop it. Luis Arraez is a great interview.
No, stop.
I don't care about interview. Who's still playing in the playoffs?
Oh,
boom!
Oh, okay. Ohtani's never in the playoffs. Does he suck? Would you trade Ohtani?
That's not the argument. The argument is Arraez or who won the trade. We actually, they both won the trade because, let's be serious, they both made the postseason. They both got what they needed to get. Pablo Lopez, just if he continues to pitch like this, I mean, Twins might be dangerous.
Also, he went to the Twins. The Twins made it. You know this. They made a very key suggestion because he spoke to us about this. He spoke to this all year. They added a sweeper for him, and it has been incredible. And it has been another lane for hitter staff to pay attention to.
He can just cutter pretty much.
Yep. Well, but that was something new from the Twin staff. They're like, hey, we've been watching you for a while. We're excited to have you on. So that trade also unlocked another level for him, which is fine. Okay, last thing on this series. Because you get to do the manager conversations. And I know they're a little different during the playoffs. They're a little more rush. There's a little more kind of like tension with the managers getting to whatever they have to do next. But anything cool that you learned, any combos? Also, I mean, you got Dusty. So sometimes like you get 15 with Dusty and 12 of the minutes are just like epic stories about something completely different. And he just gets to hang out with you and tell you something cool.
Dusty, first of all, I've had both these managers so many times this year and so many times over the years, especially Dusty over the years. And this year I did, I don't know how many Twins games, a lot, 5 or 6. So I was late to Rocco's press conference yesterday. So he was giving me shit because I was up doing an interview with Dan Gladden, a radio guy, about Twins playoff chances. And so I walked down and he's like, they were like, where the fuck were you? And I was like, dude, I was doing your radio network. What the hell do y'all want? Calm down. Dustin Morris, the PR guy. They were like, you're not allowed in now. And I'm like, well, okay, that's fine. I mean, Wayno and those guys are just going to tell me anyways. It was just giving me shit. And then Rocco and I talked soccer the first day because Tottenham beat Liverpool and he was going off on replay. And then Dusty, here's the thing about Dusty. Dusty is awesome. And Dusty, okay, so I've seen it on Twitter. I've seen it in the newspapers. Martin Maldonado, Astros fans, whoever of you is out there listening, is going to catch. Okay? He's going to catch Verlander. He's going to catch Fromberg. And he's probably going to catch Christian Javier in Game 3. I know you guys all want Diaz to catch, but Dusty Baker believes in veteran catchers, strong defense, and he doesn't care if he ever gets a hit. He just wants him out there to get his pitchers through and keep them safe. So he has defended that in every meeting we've had all year pretty much, and he will die on that sword.
You think Diaz is going to catch it all in this series?
Well, he caught last night. He came in and pinch hit like late.
He was an offensive replacement.
He was an offensive replacement. Do I think he will? I don't think he's going to. Well, Game 5 is no if he gets to 5 because it's Verlander.
It was sarcastic.
The only chance maybe Game 4, but okay, you guys will love this. So I remember we had Chaz McCormick on, and I asked Dusty. We said, because he played center in both games. And we're like, oh, he's playing Game 1. I'm like, oh, you got Chaz out there in center. He's like, yeah, he's been great for us all year. And I go, but wait, I thought he was too fat. And he just started laughing. He looked at me and goes, well, you're fatter than he is. What does that say? I was like, what? So I was like, wait, what? And then no, Dusty's like, I'm just, Dusty's like, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I know, Dusty. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I go, trust me. People call me way worse than fat before. I'm okay with it. But no, that's just how he is. He's just awesome. Like, okay, I think Wayno said on the air that he's like a cartoon character. He just makes the game better when you get him on the air, you get to talk to him, people get to see it. Like, that's what it used to be with the managers, and now with all the old school stuff and all that. And also, I will say this, and about just the game last night in general, people forget about it, okay? It was 3-0. What did the Twins do? Jorge Polanco hadn't done it all year. He sacrificed bunted first and second, nobody out. Moved the runners over, second and third. Then they walked. Who was it? I forget. The 3-hole hitter to get to Correa. Correa got the big hit, right? Twins, Polanco's first sacrifice bunt of the year. Only the 12th I think they had all year, but it led to him kind of putting the game away. And then I was sent all these stats from somebody, and it didn't help the run expectancy, but it helped the win projection. The win expectancy, because they added on those runs. And so it's weird. It's a weird dynamic in analytics. You bunt, right? But you think you're bunting for the runs, but the run expectancy actually goes down, but the win expectancy goes up. So it's like, someone in analytics is going to have to explain that to me.
AJ and his numbers all the time,
I'll say,
so
man.
Analytical.
Well, no, think about that. How does
the
the
for
run
a few days, and it's like he's dropping.
How does the run expectancy go down?
Because of less.
But the win expectancy goes up.
The whole run expectancy is based on a number of opportunities you have to make a baseball play that will score that run from second base. The win expectancy is based on the opportunity to put the game farther out of reach. So win expectancy is because you only base run expectancy based on bases. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Bases, and it's divided by the number of outs left. So with 0 outs, a runner on second is more valuable than a runner on second and third with 1 out, which is crazy to me. But hey.
I don't know how your run expectancy go down, your win, but whatever. I don't know. It's analytics. Nobody really understands it except for the guy who invents the stat to make whatever they want to make look good.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, they're good at that.
Yep.
I will tell you that.
And it was good feel by Rocco to tell Jorge to bunt.
Yeah. And the thing is, the playoffs are a different game, and that's what we have to understand, too. I think what happens is with most teams, we label them, and we are mislabeling them. I have long drives here, so I'm driving to Kratz's, and I started thinking about this. The Twins, they can't hit lefties. They strike out too much. We even picked on them at times with bets during the year. They strike out too much. It's a different lineup. It's a different lineup from what it looked like at the beginning of the year. And it's not just like, oh, they don't have Gallo, but like Royce Lewis even, playing for this team right now. Like, he didn't play for a good chunk of the year on the team. You got to look at
By the way, he's pretty good too.
He's pretty damn good. The lineup's different though. Like look at the Twins lineup the first couple of months and look at it the last couple of months. Half the lineup's different. Even also some guys that just don't look the same. They look better. Like Kepler is a completely different hitter in the second half of this season. The one other thing that I noticed that I need to take into consideration when I'm picking series is to not blame overall bullpen numbers because the bullpens shrink in half. So if you're like, oh, the Diamondbacks bullpen's not that good. Well, what about their 3 or 4 best? Oh, they're pretty damn good. The Rangers bullpen has been a mess this year. Well, what about their 3 or 4 best? Yeah, they're pretty damn good. That's the majority of what you're getting. And we see this every year, and I feel like we're falling for it too much, so I'm going to stop falling for it. Like the Nationals, remember? And there's been other teams too. And sometimes actually, even if you don't have 3 or 4 dudes, if they have a starter or two where you can start to piggyback and do shit like that, which remember the Red Sox did the last time they won the World Series, right? Porcello had to the bullpen and Sale a little bullpen action. Things are different. So I just think
here's my thing, Scott, on that though.
Yeah.
These two teams that are playing right now, their bullpens are stacked.
Yes.
I mean, the Astros are stacked. Look at Presley's numbers in the postseason. He hasn't given up a run in like 19 appearances or something in the postseason. His last 19 appearances, something like that, 18, 19 appearances in the postseason. And the Astros bullpen is good. And then you look at the Twins bullpen. I mean, I know Stewart gave up the home run to Jordan yesterday, but listen, Stewart, Jax, Pagan, Thielbar, and Duran, those 5 guys, and then you throw Paddock in there, it goes 100. I mean, that is a solid 6 dudes for the Twins.
If you just took a blank slate and you watched each team, you couldn't look at their stats, you couldn't look at what they've done before in the postseason. Who has a better bullpen?
In the series I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
It's tough not to say the Twins when you just look at pure stuff. It's
are
really tough.
Ever since I went to watch the Twins play the Phillies in September, I think it was Alumni Day, Alumni and Me Day. And I was like, oh my gosh, all the guys they keep pulling out of this bullpen are unbelievable. And so the rest of the season, I started watching it, and I'm like, holy cow, like they are, because the Astros, I think the Astros have Neris, they have Abreu, they have Presley, and they have Graveman, which I'm surprised they didn't go to Graveman.
He's hurt. He's not on the roster. He's hurt.
Yeah, he's not on the roster.
Graveman's hurt.
It
popped up day up.
He's got one of these things.
Shoulder issue. They're hoping maybe, it can heal quick enough if they make it to the CS. But
I just feel like they're shorter. I feel like they're shorter. And as we get farther into this series, managers are going to start doing what Doc said, what Dave Roberts just said. I'm going to treat this like a game 5. Like they're going to start
Dusty doesn't
making
do
it
that though.
Shorter. I'm saying
Dusty doesn't. That's the one thing about Dusty. That's why they can survive, because Dusty lets he should have taken Framber out. You can make the argument he should have taken Framber Valdez. He had Maton up for Correa, and he left Framber out there. And guess what? Correa got the big hit when he had a righty warming up, and then he went to him the next hitter. Right? Dusty lets his start. He trusts his starters, especially Verlander and Valdez, and he leaves them in there so he can have a little shorter bullpen.
Is that going to kill him? Is that gonna come back and
Framber doesn't pitch better probably, but I mean Javier is not really a 7-inning guy. He's going to hopefully give him 5, and they're the off day today, rested up bullpen, and then it just depends on who pitches game 4.
All right, let's get to the Orioles and Rangers. We haven't touched on that series yet. It's the only one we haven't gotten to. 2-0 Texas, and just to play off what I'm talking about, Sabores, Chapman, who, can get a little wild, but usually effectively wild and still getting the job done most of the time. Leclerc, very solid. Actually, was surprised. I know you want to get some work in for your relievers, and it's been a minute, but I'm like, Cano? You want to show him Cano right now? You near Cano?
They hadn't pitched in a week.
Right. But, I mean, you guys tell me, if you're on the other side, if you're on Texas, and you get to see the closer for the other team in a very non-save-like situation, are you like, cool, like, let's get some fresh looks at this dude, or it does not matter at all?
I think it matters. I think it matters getting looks at him, but I still think you still have to bring him into that game. He hadn't pitched, and you have to keep the game exactly where it is to give yourself a chance to hit a 3-run homer.
True.
Like they did, and they got Leclerc into the game too. Like there's something to be said about that, but they're behind it right now. They're behind the 8 ball.
Now it goes back to Texas, and I mean this is super young.
Listen, Evaldi's been great too in the postseason. I know people are going to be like, oh, I don't know, but dude, Evaldi's been really good in the postseason in his career.
Rangers are favored to win the game,
and Adley hasn't been swept. So the immovable force or the unstoppable object?
I know you guys have already talked about, but do you guys think, listen, there could be 3 sweeps in these series, honestly. I know you guys are going to say it won't happen, but the Dodgers, they get Gallen tonight. That's a big one. The Phillies have their boys lined up, Wheeler and Nola, and Fried is a question mark, and then who the heck's going to pitch in Game 3 for the Braves? And then you look at Baltimore, they're shell-shocked. They're shook right now. Watching those 2 games, they're making errors. They're bad base running. The Gunnar Henderson getting thrown out at second, missing a hit and run, or Aaron Hicks missed it. No, wait. Gunnar Henderson missed it. No, wait. Aaron Hicks missed it. We're not going to throw anybody under the bus, but Brandon Hyde's going to throw Aaron Hicks under the bus. Like, the whole thing is not how the Orioles have played. So, and they've been getting hit, which is the thing. Their pitching has always been better than people thought. So, listen, there could be, I don't want to say it, but there could be some short series here in the division series.
Would you take the over or under if I said there's going to be 2 sweeps?
I think there'll be 2. I think Baltimore's in serious trouble. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I think the Braves are in trouble too, man. Listen, we said it. We've been saying it for months now. The Phillies ain't scared of the Atlanta Braves. They went out and first game punched them right in the mouth, made all the plays. The Trey Turner double play. But what people forget is where, I forget who it was, the outfielder threw the ball to second base to keep the double play in order, right? And then Trey Turner turns the double play. Like they're doing all the little things. They have that swag going. Snickers changing lineups now. It's like, dude, you played 162 games with the same dudes every day. Why are we messing with it now?
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's very. We talked about that with Russ a little bit. Like, I think it goes under the radar. Everyone's all over Schneider. They questioned Dusty for taking Verlander out. Everyone's questioning about pitchers, and Snit comes out and changes his lineup. They had the only lineup that was 130 plus similar games or something like that, and then he goes and changes it. But anyway,
on to Rangers Orioles though for another second. First off, if we're going to Game 2, Grayson Rodriguez bringing it. The stuff is there long term, but dude's gonna have to learn how to pitch in those big spots. Wasn't ready for the moment as a starter.
He just couldn't put the guys away. He kept getting 0-2, 1-2 on every guy, and he couldn't put them away. They fouled off some pitches. Then there was 4 walks, I think. Yep. He just couldn't put them away. His stuff was good, but it's kind of the similar Grayson Rodriguez before they sent him down, right? When he went to AAA, he kind of figured that out a little bit. Now, again, you get into the postseason, you're not facing, no offense to these teams, but the Orioles and the Tigers and you're not facing those teams, right? You're not facing the A's. You're not facing those lineups. You're facing A lineups with everything focused on what you do. And teams try to take that away. We saw it with the Twins, like we talked about with Gausman, right? We saw it when they brought in Neris. It was the same plan they had against Gausman. They were looking for the ball up. They didn't swing anything down. I think when you get into these bigger games, you have to be able to do different things. And we saw Pablo Lopez do it last night. In, out, up, down, sliders, changeups, mixing it up. First time through, a lot of off speed. Second time through, more fastball heavy, right? You have to mix it up against these good teams, and you have to be able to make adjustments on the fly. And I think through the first 2 games, that's what the Orioles have been missing.
Isn't this what we talk about all the time? Being a hitter that can be adjustable, being a pitcher that can make adjustments. Like if you only throw 100 and it is just full tilt 100 in the playoffs, I completely agree with you, AJ. This stuff gets exposed. If you can't hit pitches, if you can't make contact on pitches, like the Twins have shown me. They've shown me because they have been the whole season strikeout city. Even without Gallo, with Gallo, whatever, they've been strikeout city. This playoffs, they've still struck out, but not like they were before. And they're making adjustments at the plate, which is the name of the game right now. It's win now, and they are winning.
But also, this, Kratzy, when you're in the postseason, you focus more. I know every game matters, But listen, when you have those meetings, you are like, okay, what? Okay, he throws this, what? And you look for every little advantage. You send all your scouts to watch these guys pitch, right? You send out all these video people. Everyone in the organization is focused on one team for the only time all year. And then you get the reports, and the coaches sit down and they go through the whole thing. And then when you have your meetings, everybody is paying attention. Listen, I mean, how many times in the regular season you're kind of like, I faced Pablo Lopez 40 times in my career. What's he going to do different? Well, now he has a sweeper. He didn't have that before, right? So you're locked into that. Or it's just a different animal in the postseason because guys, and it's people out there, fans are going to be like, they should do that every game. You just focus more.
You can't do it every game. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again later. You are exhausted at the end of your month of playoffs because you are that focused. You can sleep. I'm not saying you can't sleep during the playoffs, but things just don't bother you as much. You have such blinders on. That'd be great. It'd be great to be like that. I'd be a jerk if I was like that all the time. Like I could never have lived. But I think there's so much to be said about knowing the teams that you're playing too. You think there's an advantage, real quick, you think there's an advantage to the Braves playing the Phillies and the Dodgers playing the Diamondbacks because they know them so well? Because the Phillies only played the Diamondbacks 6 games. They played them 2 different series.
I think there's an advantage. I think there's just a comfort of knowing each other, but also it led to what happened to Kershaw, right? He couldn't get a slider, and they knew, hey, this dude's going to throw us sliders. We've seen it. How many times? I don't know how many starts Kershaw had against the Diamondbacks this year, but they knew they were ready. And listen, Strider went out and pitched great in game 1. The Braves offense didn't do anything, and Ranger Suarez and that whole Phillies bullpen, I mean, they were damn good. So it breeds a little bit of comfort, but at the same time, it breeds a little bit of worry because teams make adjustments like we just talked about in the postseason, and whoever makes the adjustments quicker is usually the one that wins.
Last thing on the Rangers, to comment from Bobby, said this Rangers offense hasn't even gotten hot yet, which is crazy because they're pouring on runs. No, I mean,
they're hot.
They're hot, but bottom of the order's hot.
Well,
top of the order's, I mean, obviously Seager walked 5 times this year. Semien, not there yet.
Okay.
I mean, it's
yeah,
young,
but they also
Carter, it's Mitch Garver.
Well, you have to understand there's something different. We talked about it when I did the Rangers Twins, right? The bottom of the order is different now. You have Garcia, you have Young, right? So when I was doing those series, those guys weren't there, right? Carter
hit 5th last night.
Yeah, right. But before that, he was like 8 or 9 in the
beginning of the series.
Right. Yeah. I mean, got to move him up. He gets on base every single time.
That's crazy.
It's a special lineup right now, and they're hot as hell. All right, our next guest is ready to go on FT Live as we continue to talk to some of the top prospects in the Arizona Fall League. Reggie Crawford from the San Francisco Giants organization joining us right now. Reggie, great to have you on. We appreciate the time, dude, and obviously can't wait to talk about how unique you are as a ball player. How's it going out there in Arizona, man?
It's going good, man. No complaints. I'm enjoying it so far. It's a lot of fun.
What are you up to? Who are you making friends with? Because also, you get to meet some other players that you're going to hopefully face in the big league someday, but you get to play with them and then be like, but what do you always say to the guys? Like, remember WBC?
Oh, what do you mean about the WBC?
Like the Phillies guys that were playing with the Mets guys?
Oh, yeah. I'd just piss in their bag as soon as you leave. Right now, you're buddies. Like, you're buddies in the Fall League.
Yeah, right?
When you face them later, hey, have you opened up the side pocket of your bag?
Yeah.
Took a big old dump in the right side and peed in the left side.
That's too good. No, but it's been good. I was looking forward to playing with a few of the guys, like Robert Hassel, Trey Lipscomb. They've been out here. So it's been cool, like, meeting different guys from different orgs, getting to hang out with them at the field, outside of the field. So, no, it's definitely been enjoyable. So I'm taking it all in.
All right, let's get right to the good stuff because I'm sure you get asked about this all the time. I want our guys to kick it around. Life as a two-way player, what's it like?
Under normal circumstances, it's pretty smooth sailing. But because of the Tommy John that I had to get, it kind of makes it a little bit trickier because just like anybody who would be doing this, the big thing is controlling workload. But on top of it, you're trying to control and manage workload while still technically rehabbing from the TJ. So it's been very up and down, essentially, from the TJ and then even from the draft because, say I'm hitting at a certain point in time and then the hitting shuts down, we're throwing at a certain point in time, and it's just been difficult to find a period of time where we're able to do both. And that's still a part of the progression. But yeah, I mean, right now it's still trying to get my feet underneath me. It's definitely an adjustment. I think it's been like almost 2 years since I've hit consistently. So pretty much just trying to take every single pitch and learn from it as well as I possibly can, while using the resources around me to kind of make up for a lot of that lost time. So it's been good just seeing pitches, being back in the box. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward, especially next season, to where I'm doing both at the same time, just like I'm used to for my whole life, pretty much.
I'm assuming they're gonna give you your plan and tell you what your plan's gonna be going forward with that.
Yeah, definitely. The Arizona Fall, like this is really big just to see where we're at as far as hitting. But yeah, we need to kind of sit down and talk about like the progression and how we're going to approach next season, based off of how this season looked and how my body looked, or my body felt, my arm felt, stuff like that. So that'll be a conversation that'll be had probably sometime in the near future.
Do you feel like they're going to be too nervous about it? Do you feel like they're going to be too cautious and you just want to go? Like you're a Ferrari and they're asking you to just like pull into a parking spot and then pull into the next parking spot and then pull into the next parking spot. Like you're at the 101 out in Arizona right now. Let that big dog eat.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly been the trickiest part for me, because I'm used to just go all the time, and not being able to do that. And say you get 3 weeks and then time off, you get a couple weeks time off, or like a certain amount of swings this day, you wait a week, certain amount of swings this day, you wait a week. So it's definitely been tricky, even like on the mound too. It's like my arm can be feeling great and we may be capped at a certain spot, but it's like it's one of those things where, like, yes, that could be frustrating, but in reality, the health is the best interest in mind right now, and that's what we're kind of focusing on. And I have to kind of remind myself of that sometimes, because it is easy to like, all right, like let me just play, let me play, no restrictions. But I knew coming into it that's what it was going to look like. So again, I did have to check myself a few times, but no, I am excited to have those conversations about next season, because I think it's really going to free a lot of stuff up for the future, which will be exciting for sure.
All right, my last comment on the whole thing is not a question, it's a comment. It is your career. You have an elite skill, and I get it. You don't want to get hurt. Nobody wants to get hurt. But you have an elite skill. You have an opportunity to do something that not a lot of people do. Like, just remember that part. Like,
I appreciate that.
Go do you. I get it. They're going to be like, hey, we'd love for you to, do this, and we're going to mitigate your at-bats. Okay, you pitch, so now we're not going to let you hit. And you know what? At the end of your career, if you have 15 years in the show, or you have 15 days in AA, they're not going to have anything. They're going to go on to the next guy. They're going to go on to the next guy. So whatever it is, you drive that Ferrari as hard as you can, because it's your Ferrari.
That is really important. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It means a lot.
Reggie, before I get into the whole, I want to know your Ohtani thoughts. Did we only have you on because you're from Pennsylvania and Kratz just loves Pennsylvania people like more than
I'd imagine
anything?
that has to be the only reason, right?
I mean, I'm starting to wonder why all these guests are from Pennsylvania.
We're not even going there yet. I want to
we're not even
stay on the 2A stuff. Don't worry. Do not steal his thunder.
I didn't even know he was going to say that. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Reggie, okay, now we'll get to that later.
We'll get to it. He's really sleepy. Somebody banged on his seat while he was on his first-class flight because he was napping. So he just wants to ask you his questions.
We have 3 minutes dedicated to this particular area of not just the country, but of this state. But anyway, AJ.
Okay, I just threw up. Sorry, Reggie. So when you're watching Shohei, okay, have you? If I'm you, I'm like, hey, can I get Shohei's number and reach out and talk to him or his translator and get some advice?
No, I know, and I've been thinking about that recently, because there's a few guys that on the big league club now that I know, and I was thinking about, hey, like, yo, can you throw in a word or something? But I've been working on that, so hopefully sometime in the near future I kind of, pick his brain a little bit, because that'd be very helpful.
Think how sick it'd be You walk around your fall league and you're like, oh, guess who's on the phone, guys? It's Shohei. Who are you guys talking to? Oh, it's not Shohei. I don't care who y'all are talking. Think about that. All your you be back home in Pennsylvania, Kratz State, worst place besides New Jersey. But other than that, you could be like, hey, hold on. Shohei's on the line, guys. I'll call you. I'll have to play. I'll talk to you guys later.
For real. No, I know. Hopefully sometime in the near future. I'm working on it. I really am. So if you guys got any, connects, let me know. But no, we're trying.
I do want to know though, when you were drafted, did they say, hey, you're going to be a two-way guy? They gave you that?
I communicated going into the draft that I would have liked to do both, and I wouldn't really be interested if any team didn't see that as well, or at least allow me to attempt it.
And what is have they given you any indication? Because what was the guy's name in Tampa? Brandon McKay, I think his name was.
Yeah, Brandon McKay.
He ended up getting hurt and never. Have they given you I don't want to say a drop dead date, but have they said hey, if you don't make it as both by 2025, then we're gonna have you be a hitter or a pitcher? Or have they just been we're gonna ride this thing as long as possible?
Yeah, no, it's just we're pretty much riding it as long as possible, and just check-ins every once in a while, because obviously, this is where we're at right now. But say in the future something doesn't make sense, why continue with it? So where we're at right now is just staying healthy, getting healthy, staying healthy. That's the main priority, and that's what we've been doing. So those conversations, I haven't had enough ABs. I haven't enough innings on the mound to even have those conversations, because it's you could ask me who I am as a player. It's I couldn't even tell you, because I'd imagine a lot of people can't either, just because of the lack of reps. So I think we just kind of want some time and game and innings under my belt before we even kind of dig into that.
Okay, which one do you like better?
I like hitting more, for sure.
Good answer. Good answer.
Is Ohtani actually your favorite player, Reggie? If you had to write it down on a card, who's your favorite player? Is it Ohtani because of the similarities?
It is Ohtani, yeah. And he's just he's really good for the sport, It's you would see that guy everywhere, which is really important for baseball, because I know so many people that don't even know baseball, but they just know the name Shohei Ohtani. So just what he's doing as a whole, from a player standpoint, and then just that other piece of it, it's just unbelievable. So it's hard not for him not to be my favorite player.
So two questions about his future, because you can be a better analyst on this than most. How do you think the next couple of years are going to go for him? Because now he has, it's a little secretive, but it's some type of elbow procedure, right? And so he's not going to pitch next year, but he is going to hit, and he's entering free agency, so it's going to be crazy. So how do you see the progression for him and what he needs to go through? He already did go through it one time, and now he'll go through it again. And then also, do you have a message for any of the analysts that say, well, he should just maybe be a reliever when he comes back, and then, he can just hit and come out of the bullpen casually? To me, I've been told from others that would be insane, and I don't know how that works during the course of a game.
Yeah, so the only difference essentially, when it comes to the TJ, assuming that's what he's getting, I'm not exactly sure, but he hits lefty but throws righty, whereas I throw lefty, hit lefty. So it's this motion when hitting kind of just it irritated it slightly occasionally, and that was the issue that I was having. Whereas for him, the right arm will be the arm that he got the procedure done, and you don't see that violent of emotion during the swing. So all the guys that I talked to, some of the position guys that I've talked to that had to get TJ at some point in their lives, a lot of them were throw righty, hit lefty, and they were good to go. As far as hitting and without throwing, honestly, 5 months, I think it was 5-6 months, and they're good to go. Whereas it definitely, even at 11 months for me, post-draft, when I was getting some swings in the ACL, I definitely felt some discomfort, and it took a while for it to kind of loosen up. So as far as that, I'd imagine since he's just hitting next year, he won't have any issues there. But, as far as the pitching, it's you have these guys go down all the time. A big thing is that I would have conversations about was like the TJ and like hitting, and like you have pitchers going down all the time that never pick up a bat. So it's like I think that's just I don't know why that's always brought into conversations with both of them, but I mean, I don't know why they would put him as a closer. Like he's a really good starter, and it's like if that's because of the TJ, then why not make every starter that gets TJ a closer? I don't know. I think that he should just hit this year like he's going to, and then continue and just kind of take it the same way they did last time. Because like injuries happen, and that's the way it is. You can't hide from them for your whole life.
I love that. Don't hide from the injuries. That's what I'm saying. Get that Ferrari and get that thing flying.
Absolutely.
But speaking of Ferraris, as states, you grew up in Pennsylvania. Now it said, well, I mean, it's not the armpit of America, Florida, but it is just an incredible, the Keystone State, all the great things about Pennsylvania. It said you were born in Lansdale. Now I coach high school baseball, and I live like from my school like 10 minutes, and the school's in Lansdale. Now but you went to North Schuylkill, which AJ can't even say the word Schuylkill, let alone spell Schuylkill. So how is a northern guy coming from the most illustrious state being viewed once you're in pro ball now as like, well, he's a cold weather guy. He's probably not going to be able to do this because we're tougher. We're tougher than the southern guys.
Well, I mean, Absolutely. He proved it. No offense, but he already had the.
Yeah, he did because he was. Yeah, because he wanted to make sure everyone else had a chance before he came and took the world by storm.
That's right. That's right.
You've been warned.
Yep.
No, but yeah, born in Lansdale.
Wait, can you tell me? Hold on, before you get into this, can you tell me
where? Just about to get into
no, but I want to know. I'm doing geography, so I want to know in the little box that is Pennsylvania. Where is Lansdale?
I think it's like southeast, like
southeastern portion, about 45 minutes north of Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So wait, that's southeast Philly. Then where's Philly? In another state?
Philly's in the southeastern portion of Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania's large. AJ.
Pittsburgh's in the western.
I know
portion.
Pittsburgh's west. Philly's east.
Philly's southeast. Like the triangle, the like angle at the bottom.
It's basically a square-ish.
It's a box.
Yeah,
I mean, a rectangle, whatever. Yeah.
Look at Reggie. Reggie's like, these guys are idiots.
Yeah, Reggie. Well, I want to know these things because you guys talked about the state. Okay.
It's down at the bottom.
Got it. Okay. So it's almost in what's below that? Virginia?
Delaware.
Delaware. Okay. Go ahead, Reggie. Maryland. Sorry. Now we know. Okay. Now I want to hear about Lansdale.
Yeah. So born down there. Was there for a few years, and then we ended up moving to Frackville, so northeast PA, because my grandmother lived there, and we'd always just want to spend time there, so we ended up moving there. But went to North Schuylkill. Honestly, there's not much going on in Pennsylvania, man. Like I just bought a place out here in Arizona. I'm enjoying it out here. I had 21 years of the cold weather, and it was good. But I'm enjoying this 65, in December like last year. So set up shop out here. But yeah, no, like I really did enjoy growing up in PA, just like a small town, just like the typical, like small town things. You play manhunt, do all this thing, you ride bikes and stuff. So it's definitely enjoyable. And no, I'm definitely happy that I did grow up, growing up in the cold, because then if you're playing a game and it's 35, 40 degrees out, it's like it's nothing you haven't experienced before. So, I mean, it's definitely good because I know that a lot of my friends who didn't really experience playing baseball in that kind of weather, it would definitely affect them a little bit. So it was definitely nice to have that. But no, I love Pennsylvania, but I do love Arizona a lot too. So that's why I'm out here now.
Arizona's easy to love in the winter, no doubt. Ain't nobody got time for an Arizona summer though, so you'll be gone. So that's
exactly.
Good.
So it works out well.
You said you grew up in Frackville?
Frackville, yep.
AJ, you know what fracking is?
I know what fracking is, dude.
You know why? You know why people up in central Pennsylvania where he grew up are so rich now? Because of fracking.
Yeah, that's because we've been banned everywhere.
Not up there.
We can't. If it's called Frackville, what else are you going to do? I've seen Brockmire. I've seen Brockmire.
Electricville? I don't know.
All right. God, look at that.
So we can't let you go without a little Friday fits from the other day. How's your modeling career going with your friends?
Oh, it's non-existent. I mean, that's all there's going to be. We're brainstorming what we're going to do this Friday. It's not going to be anything like that. But no, that was just like, hey, let's go to Boot Barn, get some stuff, and look like idiots for social media, and that's what we did. But no, it was fun. Everybody enjoyed it. So, just keeping it light around the clubhouse.
I love that.
That's important. But I got a quick question for you. Were you holding them biceps out, or are those the real size? Because it looks like you had your hands like underneath the biceps and you were pushing them out. We got it because this is an honest show. You can't.
I don't know. Look at that.
You were pushing those biceps out, weren't you?
I think the hand's just tucked in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a real biceps. Like
I don't know,
left arm looks like it's just hanging because otherwise you would see the wrist of the the right wrist would be a little bit tilted
flexed
up.
No,
right.
I got you. Because this picture is going to show up when you make it to the big leagues, and you're going to have to answer. Some grizzled veterans like AJ are going to have to answer to this.
Mm-hmm. No, it's always signed up for. We knew that was coming, and we all had to sign so many of those the other day. They were printed out. Like I don't know why everybody printed them out, but no, it was funny.
I love it. AJ's just quiet. AJ, see, I'm not the only one that wears mediums.
Yeah, but he can pull it off. Scott's jealous because your biceps are bigger. All right, so Reggie, here you go. You ready? Say it with me. SCHUY. LKILL. Bam! Nailed it. Skunkle Hill.
There it is.
Skookhill.
Skunkle Hill.
No.
Is that how they spell it out at the games?
They don't spell it out. It's definitely north. Like his school's like an hour 45 from here, so he moved to like central Pennsylvania, not quite up to like Route 80 up there, like Bloomsburg, south of Bloomsburg, but he's kind of in farm country.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a little different. That's a little different than where you were born, but I don't know if you're coming back to Lansdale or not.
Definitely quiet around there.
If you come back to Lansdale, okay, for like a family reunion or something in the off season, the boys will be banging in the cage, so hit me up.
Hey, absolutely. Definitely will.
Also, it's funny that he called that farm country, but Lansdale's not, because most people, if they were in this area, would still say Lansdale is farm country.
Wait, how many Amish people? Where's the Amish people at?
That's.
I'm an hour and a half from the Amish.
Yeah, they're like south.
They're south of.
They're south of him.
Okay, got it.
But
more where you grew up.
I guess so. Yeah. How far is Lansdale from like Lancaster and stuff?
An hour.
That
would be west. Lancaster's like west, and it's Lancaster,
not Lancaster.
Not Lancaster like it is out in. It's Lancaster.
No, man, you guys get to work on some stuff.
Look at that.
Hey, Reggie, this was awesome, dude. Great to have you on. Appreciate it. Keep doing your thing out there. We'll look forward to the next Friday Fit, and we'll catch you down the road. All right, have fun.
Absolutely. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it.
Poor Reggie's like, damn it, I thought I was coming on to talk baseball. We're talking geography.
We did. We talked plenty of baseball at the beginning. Reggie Crawford with us. We talked. See, I was like, let's get our baseball, our two-way combo, all of that out of the way. And then AJ, of all people, just can't resist talking about Pennsylvania while we're like deep into the Ohtani
He's so jealous
conversation.
You guys have fracking? You guys have fracking. We have Creed, baby. Creed is leading the Rangers to the promised land.
We're about to get Creed involved in the show, but
have Creed? I
do have some
Orlando.
Oh, because Creed's from Orlando.
Yeah. Orlando's finest.
Yeah.
Make it sizzle. Make it sizzle for us. It's hot corner time. Yes. Okay, so we have a tweet with some news on a recent radio appearance from world famous 54%er Jerry Dipoto on Seattle sports. This is from Maura Dooley, who says Dipoto on Seattle sports on AJ Pierzynski comments that Cal Raleigh was told to apologize.
Whoa!
Quote, no, never happened. I don't speak with AJ Pierzynski. I did speak to Cal after he spoke to the media, and no one spoke to Cal. Cal has his opinions, and he is free to share them.
All I'm going to say is this. I stand by what I said, 1,000,000% what I said. I'll say it with my chest. I stand by exactly what I said. And if you're Jerry DiPoto, why do you have the apology press conference if it didn't happen? You don't need to. You're the GM. You can do whatever you want. I mean, I know he's defending the 54% bullshit he's out there, but I also know Jerry DiPoto's roommate in college. He's a professional wrestler. I'm going to have him.
Yeah, right.
DiPoto,
I'm not kidding. I do know him.
Hey, Jerry DiPoto was the guy sitting behind AJ in first class.
Yeah, exactly.
He was out there.
Oh, come on.
Wait, so Cal Raleigh makes comments like that, somewhat calling out the org for not going for it. And look, he could not be more accurate right now. The Texas Rangers have done a nice job with grooming some young players, but that top of that lineup, they bought it, and it's working, right? Semien and Seager is maybe the best pure hitter in the game right now, so good for them. Do you think that Cal Raleigh said something like that and nobody in the org spoke to him? I actually think it would be weird if no one spoke to him. So I'm going to look at this again, but no one spoke to Cal. Not even like no one forced an apology. No one spoke to him, period. I want the phone records. I want all phone records laid out. And I'll even say everything he did, alibis, the whole thing. There were no conversations. I actually would expect, even if they weren't pissed and wanted to apologize, still a combo, just to be like, hey, dude, like, respect you making your opinion. We're going to try and do this thing. They didn't speak, period. Well, that also could be because I do know from the Mariners front office perspective, they do try and keep a very clear, like, separation, which, whatever, that's their choice because you got to make a lot of tough decisions. But you know what I'm saying? You're completely denying any conversations between player and front office, org, the whole thing after a situation like that?
I stand by what I said and what I hold. I don't know how I can say it any clearer. I stand by what I said, and the fact that this question was asked and that was his answer says more. He never spoke to Cal. And Cal just miraculously the next day was like, I'm sorry for saying I want to win. Like, wait, what? Like, no, the players don't do that, Erik. You know that. Dude, I said what I said, and I want to win. So, yeah, we should have made better moves. Of course the front office said something to him. It's rather funny. But you know what the biggest problem with DiPoto is? I know why he's attacking me. Do you guys know where he's from, where he went to high school?
Tom's River.
Tom's River High School.
You're
Jerry
so.
and Todd. No, Todd's father, who will be on with us on Tuesday, tomorrow's show, is disappointed in Jerry's comments. He was disappointed because he has a lot of pride in Tom's River, and he said, we don't learn that in school. We don't do the 54% thing in school.
Okay, so true story. I said it. I have actually talked to Jerry DiPoto before because his roommate in college, he went to VCU, is a professional wrestler, and I beat the shit out of him one time in the wrestling ring. So I have a bond with Jerry DiPoto.
You beat the shit out of the pro wrestler, like in
wrestling
days. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Hit him with the home plate, knocked him out, won the titles. You know, that was Jerry DiPoto's roommate at VCU.
Love that. That title belt in Studio AJ. 2036 Legends territory with Cal Raleigh is going to be so lit. He's got to say whatever he wants about it. It's going to be so lit.
He's already said what he wants.
He said
no, but the last layer here is, was there, like, lie detector test, whatever, right? You're hooked up. Were there no conversations? Because the GM of the Mariners just said, I don't speak with AJ Pierzynski, and I didn't talk to Cal.
I love that. I love.
How did I get? Like, I
love that.
Like, by name, like by name.
Look, there's like you talk. You say the things that you want to say, and we're asking for people to be honest. And Cal was honest, and then he was backed by his teammates. They all, not all. 3 or 4 guys said, yes, I agree with what Cal said. And then the next day he comes out and apologizes because...
He didn't fully apologize too, by the way. He said, I'm not apologizing for not wanting to win. He's just trying to say, I'm not trying to say, like, anyone on my team. Like, I feel like the front office was like, really? You think we need better players? So then you think that there's certain players on our current team that you think suck? Well, how do you think they feel right now?
Well, actually, they just came out...
That's not what he means.
what they actually just came out and backed what I said. Nobody, like other people were backing what he said. The people that he
The
was
players backed him up.
That's what I'm saying.
The players on the Mariners were like, yes.
Jared Kelenic liked it on IG. Like these guys all agree. They're like,
the
yeah,
players
we needed a little
the
boost.
players agreed with what Cal said. It wasn't like they were like, oh, this guy, what's he doing? They were like, yeah. They went out and got Scherzer. They went out and got Montgomery. Guess what we did? We traded away our closer in Rojas and I forget the other guy's name, but they're good players, but they're not Scherzer or Montgomery.
That is so
They're not
funny.
Justin Verlander. They're not Kendall Graveman.
I love it. AJ Pierzynski. A question that was presented. AJ Pierzynski.
2 minutes like apology press conference.
But the second thing is without like AJ's found this out. AJ's not just trolling the Mariners. You're not just trolling the Mariners to be like, oh well, I know that this is what happened. You were told this by somebody, and like that is like, how are you? Anyway,
But
I just love that you got brought up.
I'm just going to say this: that when I don't know how to say this and not. When it happened, I guess is the right word. Ryan Divish, who said it didn't happen, which is kind of where it went.
Right.
I don't know that he was
present
in the moment to know what exactly happened from what I was told. And I love Ryan Divish. Don't get me wrong; he's great.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's awesome.
Great.
But
Well,
I think I don't know that he was in the actual moment when everything kind of happened.
I would hope not. If they're inviting him, hey Ryan, you want to come over when we try to yell at Cal after his comments? You can just write a book on it someday. Obviously, he's not invited to that, and they're going to deny till they die. Like
I will say this though: the Mariners fans are pissed,
livid,
and people in the organization are asking questions.
To AJ? Not about AJ.
No. But I'm saying because they're like
they should be.
Maybe what are we doing? Because why are we only trying to win 54% of the games? Why are we not trying to win 100% of the games? It's just bad. It's bad look.
It was bad, and we want. Here's the only other thing, because I was actually like, obviously, I think the comments are ridiculous, but I always respect someone that's actually like speaking their mind and what's going on. And Jerry was taking us behind the curtain. He'll basically never do that again. So I don't want everyone to just be a board, just a flat, boring board, which we get from a lot of front office people these days. They just dance around everything, and it's nothingness. He gave us something, and obviously it blows up, and now it prevents a lot of other people from saying stuff. You know, so I do respect it. Like he is taking us inside what's actually going on. It's just that what's actually going on is happening in a lot of places, and it's weird and it's wrong, and everyone's striving for 87 wins. It's very strange.
Well, Ross Atkins is trying to just keep his job for as long as humanly possible, and will throw anybody under the bus.
Rebuild.
Yeah.
Rebuild
that back.
I need my players again. My rebuild. 5 more years.
Let's clap.
High five.
What do you got in your head?
Oof. AJ, what do you think this hat is?
It's your American Legion hat that's like barely hanging on with the last little thing.
Even before American Legion.
You should have heard it just now when he took it off his head.
It
like
was hurting
the crustiness of the hat. It was like.
How is it possible that I still have this hat?
1987 All-Star. You're sick.
What All-Star did you make?
This was Little League. I was 7 years old.
Why did your mom keep that for you?
It was just in my closet, and it was look. Tell me this isn't old school. Can everybody see that?
Oh, the little rope thing on the front?
string that was on the front.
They allow that for real baseball? I thought that's like you're on a boat in the South and you put it's
old school.
Yeah, that's real old school.
This is jam. That's a jam right there.
Damn. Actually should have worn
That's exactly how you wore it too. That's exactly how you Northerners wear your hat, just like that too. You Pennsylvanians. That's how you wear it, just like that.
Drive 15 minutes north of Orlando right now, and this is how everybody. It's got like a Bass Pro. It just says Bass Pro, man. It says, "Rather be fishing. Give me a beer."
Oh, damn it! I missed.
I'm okay with that.
You can't see.
Mr. Turd.
All right, lastly, and most importantly, Orlando's finest, Creed, is actually going to help the Rangers win the World Series from MLB Life. The Rangers have been listening to Creed in the clubhouse to get hyped for games. According to pitcher Andrew Heaney, it started when they were struggling in the second half of the season this year. He said he hopes that Creed is playing throughout the ballpark before their home games this week because it would fire the team up if fans started singing along. So the Phillies have Dancing on My Own, the remix, and the Rangers have Creed.
Okay, so 2 things about this. One, they're all from Orlando. I know 3 of the 4 members very well.
Of course you do. Name drops everywhere.
Actually, as soon as I saw this, I texted one of the one I know the best, Scott Phillips, who's the drummer, and I was like, "This is incredible." And he says, "Oh, I'll pass it along to management. Maybe we can, get something done." I'm like, "Yes, now we're talking." And 2, on the horizon, March. Can we get foul territory there? Summer '99 cruise. Guess what the reunion band is?
Creed.
Creed, baby. First time they played in like 20 years together. Let's go!
I liked Creed. It's my kind of music.
Really?
But it is. Like, I like rock. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's kind of changed now, but I like that. And he said, we were struggling, so we put Creed on.
Think about, I want your guys' opinion on this. So Creed, Nickelback, right? And like in that era,
that's exactly what I think.
They sold so many damn records, and everyone mocks them, but they sold so many records.
They did.
And I liked.
But now they're a slump buster. You know what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm thinking of, and I just keep looking at myself.
We had Journey in 2005.
Because I don't want to be inappropriate, but if
we
you
had
really
Journey.
look up what a slump buster is, they're treating these guys like a slump buster.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah,
we had Journey
a little off.
We had Journey in 2005. As Ozzie Guillen called Steve Perry, he was our mascot, the lead singer for Journey, because he came and showed up at like the LCS in the World Series.
And said, Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop.
I mean, listen, it started out as a joke, and he became our mascot.
Hey, anything works. Just got to get them dubs.
Whatever it takes. That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever gets them fans happy.
This is my music right here.
Hey, by the way, have you seen Adam Amin's new sets, bro?
He has new sets?
Yeah, he's everywhere now. He did an underground. He's all EDM now.
All right, I'll check it out. I'll be the judge of that. If he needs an agent, I've got one for him.
DJ Bolt guy.
Let him know. DJ Bolt guy. Lance Lynn and Dylan Lee, who obviously has been going through some stuff injury-wise this year, but we'll bring on a Brave, we'll bring on a Dodger, because that's what we do on.
Wait, hold on. Is it confirmed Lance is pitching Game 3? Because I was told it is.
Why don't we ask Lance on Tuesday?
Oh, you got to tune in here tomorrow. Golly, my hat looks so Floridian.
Wait, actually, though, if he's pitching Game 3, isn't